So something else I need to talk about is trimming things that have a small neck. Now something like this, I'm not going to want to put upside down and put wads on and trim, because as I'm pressing here with a tool, it's going to get caught and it can pull it off or pull it out of the little wads there completely. So something that we use is called a chuck. So this is a standard chuck. Basically, when you've got an extra lump of clay on the wheel and you don't know what to do, you make a chuck. So the first thing for using a bisque chuck would be to center the chuck. And you want to center it so this part is as close to the center as possible. Then you would dampen the wheel head and you would dampen the chuck and you would add a wad to the bottom here. This is going to hold the chuck in place. Then you would put your pot upside down in the chuck and you'd be able to trim. Now, sometimes you need different size chucks for different pieces. This is for a slightly smaller piece, but I've got something even better. I've got the super chuck. So, super chuck is a chuck glued to a bat. So, this chuck has been epoxied to a bat and it's got a piece of, I don't know what you call it, foamy rubber stuff, and when it's wet it becomes very grippy, especially to leather hard pots. So you take your leather hard pot, you put it in, you tap it to get it centered, and then you'd be able to trim. What's nice about this, and I prefer this over Giffen grip, is that there's no marks. This is nice and soft and doesn't mar the surface of the pot. Not only does it not mar the surface of the pot, but it can be adjusted and changed very quickly, unlike a Giffen grip. So you'd get it centered, and then you would trim. I usually trim a little bit loose when I'm trimming with a chuck, so that like the piece can move a little bit and I can still be trimming, but this piece is a little small for that. So we're gonna get it close, make sure it's in the camera here. Yep. So again, we want to get it in the center or close to center, and I'm going to trim. So I'm pressing down on the pot so it doesn't pop out. I'm going to make a foot and get rid of the extra clay. Then on the inside, cut in and move out. So that's a chuck. Now, the nice thing about chucks too is that you can flip it over easy, trim the top half. Trim the top half, you say? Yes! You can even trim the top half. So you want something super light, you can go back and some of that weight that you needed in the shoulder to keep your pot up, you can remove. On the right size chuck, you should be able to trim from one section into the other. This chuck is a little big for this pot, so I just missed that area there. But I could, stick it in a smaller one.